ANC North West Interim Coordinator Hlomani Chauke says the party has postponed its provincial elective conference, which was set for the 23rd and the 25th of June. This is to allow for appeals of disputes. Interim Provincial Committee has set a deadline of no later than the second week of August to hold provincial elections.
The IPC has resolved to postpone the provincial conference to allow for the dispute resolution process to run its course, to include the possible of appeal process, which we have already said that the appeal process will then be lodged with the national office. The postponement will also pave the way for BBGMs, which have been ordered for the rerun process emanating from the PDRC. The IPC has resolved that the provincial conference should convene by not later than the second week of August.
Now, our reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo attended that briefing and joins me now live from Rustenburg. Ziyanda, thank you so much for joining us and good afternoon. Now, this is not unexpected as this is the fourth postponement.
Absolutely, Katlego. I mean, they've been trying to hold this elective gathering at least 3 or 4 times in this province, and it would seem then that the divisions which have long existed, especially since the removal of Supra Mahumapelo in 2018, have been difficult to remove and resolve. And Hlomani Chauke, the Interim Provincial Coordinator, you know about these divisions very well, and it would seem that it's not easy to shake them off. In fact, you yourself and the Interim Provincial Committee you lead has been accused of being both the player and the referee when it comes to resolving these branch disputes.
Well, the responsibility of the IPC is to establish committees to deal with disputes. We have a credible dispute committee that we have established in terms of the guideline that, and therefore I take it that all of these disputes are being attended. On the issue of divisions, you must understand that we have worked very hard as the IPC to rebuild and to unite the African National Congress. Part of this achievement is the fact that we are now sitting with more than 316 confirmed branches from zero, where we did not have a single branch in the province. Right? That is why we are saying we have even met the threshold to go to conference. Conference committees, the venue, everything has been booked. The only issue is that we have these disputes and they need to be listened to and they need to be attended, each and every one of them. In terms of the mandate of the IPC, that's part of a way in which we'll unite and to rebuild the ANC. It means that we're not going to push aside disputes. Disputes must be listened to, no matter who puts a dispute in terms of the guideline. And if comrades feel aggrieved that their dispute is not properly resolved, they have a right to take their matter to the Appeals Committee nationally, right? So as we now know that a number of comrades have now confronted or they've taken their matter to national, and I think it's important. It's within the constitution of the ANC and the rights of members of the ANC to do exactly that, right? So there's no way, there's no shortcut. We need to have a credible conference. We can rush to go to a conference with disputes. The disruption that is going to take place here, we all know and we have seen it in other places, right? So we want to make sure that by the time we go to conference, all these disputes have been resolved, have been attended, and members are happy. One of the things we want to see happy members of the ANC who are ready, credible candidates who will come out of that conference, but credible delegates again that will come from branches with clear mandate as they go to the provincial conference. So I think the work of the IPC must be appreciated in terms of how we've managed to bring about stability in the Northwest. The challenges that we see are normal challenges.
I have to jump in there, though. One could argue that you're struggling to shake off the presence of Supra Mahumapelo. In fact, those comrades of the ANC that were outside Luthuli House are largely seen to be aligned to him and the ones that are raising issue of disputes. So how well is the IPC doing in terms of uniting members of the ANC in the Northwest?
Well, when we deal with members of the ANC, we don't deal with them because they belong to a particular slate. We look and understand the disputes. There are clear guidelines. You can be a member of a particular slate, but in terms of the guideline, the dispute must come from a general meeting. A dispute must have been launched in that meeting. So there's no way that a person can just go wake up somewhere in the corner, group themselves that they belong to a particular group, therefore they'll launch a dispute. Those disputes may not qualify to be disputes, right? In terms of unity of the province, I think media will always want to perpetuate this point that there's a particular group of super and what. We have, in fact, gone beyond that. In terms of the mandate of the IPC, that's why you see the stability that you see in the Northwest. I think it's high time that people must start to appreciate that there's work that we have done in the Northwest. When we started the point we're making, we don't even have structures, right? Now we have structures. Now we are ready to go to conference. What is the problem? This dispute must be attended to. Let's go to conference and let's resolve all of these things with the credible leadership that will be elected in that conference that will take forward rebuilding and renewal of the African National Congress in the Northwest Province.
All right, Hlomani Chauke, very confident there. Surely then, by the time the elective conference sits, there won't be an issue with credentials, which we've been seeing taking place across the country, including in provinces such as the Eastern Cape, which delayed for several days just to resolve those issues. So a very careful approach then by the Interim Provincial Committee of the Northwest, trying to resolve all disputes and giving time for appeals, possibly even at a national level, to deal then with all the issues before this conference sits. And it's likely to sit only after then the National General Council and the policy conference set down for the end of July. Katlego?
All right, thank you. That is Ziyanda Ngcobo out in the Northwest with some of the issues that have riddled that province with regards to the ANC Provincial Conference that was meant to take place this next weekend and now has been postponed to sometime in August.